Okay, yeah, please go ahead.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hello again. My name is Sonia, and आज मैं ऑटिज्म पेरेंट्स फोरम की हेल्प से और थिया एज फाउंडेशन के कोलैबोरेशन में आप लोगों को राइट्स और प्रोविजंस जो हमारी सरकार भारत सरकार के द्वारा चिल्ड्रन विद स्पेशल नीड्स के लिए उपलब्ध कराए गए हैं उनके बारे में मैं बात करूंगी। मैं ये वेबिनार हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में करूंगी ताकि ये सबको समझ आए। तो हम उन प्रोविजंस की और राइट्स की बात करेंगे जो आज की डेट में हमारे पास अवेलेबल हैं। हम में से काफी लोगों को नहीं पता होता कि हमारे बच्चों के क्या अधिकार हैं, किस बेसिस पे अगर हमें किसी स्कूल से या गवर्नमेंट से या लोकल अथॉरिटी से बात करनी हो तो क्या किसी अधिनियम या राइट के तहत हम आगे बढ़ सकते हैं या नहीं, और किन प्रोविजंस के तहत हम अपने बच्चों के लिए बहुत कुछ आगे जाके कर सकते हैं। ये सारे डॉक्यूमेंटेड राइट्स और प्रोविजंस हैं जो आपको इंडियन गवर्नमेंट की साइट पे भी मिल जाएंगे। तो पहले हम बात करेंगे आरपीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट या दिव्यांजन अधिकार कानून। आरपीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट 2016 में अप्रूव हुआ था दोनों हाउसेज में, और इसको प्रेसिडेंट ने दिसंबर 27 2016 में साइन कर दिया गया था। इट केम इनटू फोर्स इन अप्रैल 2017। तो ये एकदम नया एक्ट है, हम कह सकते हैं ज्यादा टाइम नहीं हुआ है। इस एक्ट ने क्या किया, जो 1995 का पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटी एक्ट था उसको रिप्लेस किया। क्यों रिप्लेस किया? क्योंकि नए एक्ट में और ज्यादा प्रोविजंस आए और ज्यादा डिसेबिलिटीज इंक्लूड हुई। जो हमारा पीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट 1995 था उसमें खाली 7 डिसेबिलिटीज थी, जबकि आरपीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट में 21 डिसेबिलिटीज को इंक्लूड किया गया है। इसका मतलब है कि गवर्नमेंट इज रिकग्नाइजिंग दैट देयर आर डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ डिसेबिलिटीज दैट एग्जिस्ट, एंड उन सब 21 डिसेबिलिटीज को उन्होंने इस एक्ट के तहत रिकग्नाइज किया है। और जो भी प्रोविजंस इस एक्ट के तहत बच्चों को या बड़ों को मिलेंगे जो दिव्यांजन हैं, जो डिफरेंटली एबल्ड हैं, वो ये सारे डिसेबिलिटीज के लिए मिलेंगे, जिसमें ब्लाइंडनेस, हेयरिंग इम्पेयरमेंट, इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबिलिटी, सेरेब्रल पॉलिसी, एसएलडी, थैलेसीमिया, dwarfism, autism spectrum disorder, Parkinson, multiple sclerosis, hemophilia, acid attack victims, ये सारी लो विजन, लोकोमोटर, ये सब डिसेबिलिटीज को गवर्नमेंट ने रिकग्नाइज किया है और इस एक्ट के तहत कवर किया है। अब कंसिडरिंग कि हम में से काफी पेरेंट्स वो हैं जिनके बच्चे ऑटिज्म स्पेक्ट्रम पे हैं, मैं फिर भी ये स्लाइड इसलिए बना के शो कर रही हूँ क्योंकि हमें हमारे जानने में कोई भी मिले तो हम ये नॉलेज शेयर कर पाए दैट दिस आरपीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट इज नॉट ओनली स्पेसिफिक टू ऑटिज्म, it is for all these 21 disabilities, and if we can help tomorrow going forward, तो हमें लोगों को जागरूक करना चाहिए इस एक्ट के बारे में और इस एक्ट के तहत जो प्रोविजंस हैं उनके बारे में। अब हम बात करते हैं कि इस एक्ट के अंदर गवर्नमेंट ने क्या क्या कवर किया है। फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट, फ्री एजुकेशन। हर बच्चा जो उन 21 डिसेबिलिटीज का पार्ट है, जिनको हम बेंचमार्क डिसेबिलिटीज कहेंगे आगे चल के एज वी मूव ऑन विद आवर प्रेजेंटेशन, उन सबको राइट टू फ्री एजुकेशन है फ्रॉम द एज ऑफ 6 to 18 years in a government and a government aided institution or a school. So what is a government and a government aided institution? मैं इसलिए हाईलाइट करूंगी क्योंकि हम में से बहुत से पेरेंट्स जानते हैं कि दो every child can study in a school, but a lot of times we are turned back by the private schools saying that we do not support. तो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल तो हो गए हमारे सरकारी स्कूल जो हमारे सरकार चलाती है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, आपके सेंट्रल स्कूल्स हो गए। गवर्नमेंट एडेड स्कूल्स क्या होते हैं? गवर्नमेंट एडेड होते हैं वो स्कूल्स जो प्राइवेट होते हैं लेकिन उनको गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से ग्रांट आ रहा होता है। तो जो प्राइवेट स्कूल सरकारी लैंड पे बने हुए हैं, जो सरकारी स्कूल को गवर्नमेंट से एड मिल रहा है किसी भी फॉर्म में, तो आपको स्कूल के बारे में जब आप किसी भी स्कूल के बारे में इंक्वायर करें तो आप जरूर उस बात को देखिए कि वेदर it's a government aided institution or not. If it is a government aided institution, then it is bound by law to provide this right to free education from the age of 6 to 18 years. और अगर कोई गवर्नमेंट या गवर्नमेंट एडेड इंस्टीट्यूशन ऐसा नहीं करती, देन यू हैव गवर्नमेंट एंड लोकल अथॉरिटीज टू इंश्योर एक्सेस टू फ्री एजुकेशन। इसके लिए हर स्टेट में डिसेबिलिटी कमिश्नर्स होते हैं जो आप लोगों की मदद कर सकते हैं। आप लोकल अथॉरिटीज में जाके बात कर सकते हैं, बट एज पर द एक्ट दिस इज अ राइट। मूविंग अहेड, अब कमिंग टू हायर एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस, वहां पे रिजर्वेशन है फॉर ऑल children or adults who have one of those 21 disabilities that I spoke about. All the government and government aided institutions, again, of higher education shall reserve not less than 5%. 5% reservation hai in a higher education institute, which is a government or a government aided institution. And हम लोगों में से काफी के बच्चे हैं जो स्लो चल रहे हैं, अपनी एज से पीछे चल रहे हैं, डेवलपमेंटल डिले है। Hence, there is an upper age relaxation of 5 years for admission in the institutions of higher education. Okay, moving ahead. अब बच्चा आगे बढ़ा, उसने हायर एजुकेशन पूरी की, गवर्नमेंट ने हर स्टेज पे फ्रॉम स्कूलिंग टू हायर एजुकेशन टू जॉब्स they have created a pathway through which our children can get included into the society and the mainstream and the jobs. So there is a reservation in government jobs. And plus there are incentives for private sector employers. So reservation सरकारी नौकरी में है, इंसेंटिव सरकार देती है प्राइवेट सेक्टर को टू एनकरेज देम टू इंक्लूड चिल्ड्रन विद डिसेबिलिटीज इन देयर वर्कफोर्स। अब ये रिजर्वेशन किस हिसाब से डिवाइडेड है? जो 4% रिजर्वेशन है सरकारी नौकरी में, उसमें से 1% ईच, 1% विल गो टू blindness and low vision, 1% will go to deaf and hard of hearing, 1% will go to locomotor disabilities. तो 3% तो ये हो गया। फिर जो बाकी 1% है, दैट इज रिजर्व फॉर ऑटिज्म, एसएलडी, मेंटल इलनेस एंड मल्टीपल डिसेबिलिटीज। सो दिस इज द रिजर्वेशन मैट्रिक्स और पॉइंटर्स फॉर रिजर्वेशन इन गवर्नमेंट जॉब्स। प्राइवेट सेक्टर को गवर्नमेंट इंसेंटिव्स देती है to ensure that at least 5% of their workforce is composed of persons with benchmark disabilities. Moving ahead, इसके अलावा गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया है कि बच्चों को उनके अधिकार मिले? There are designated special courts. There are special courts to handle cases concerning violation of rights. अगर किसी स्पेशल नीड्स बच्चे का कोई राइट वायलेट होता है, उसके लिए स्पेशल कोर्ट्स बनाए गए हैं, या नॉर्मल कोर्ट्स के अंदर स्पेशल सेशंस होते हैं टू फास्ट फॉरवर्ड और फास्ट ट्रैक द केस कंसर्निंग अ पीडब्ल्यूडी। ऑल्सो there are penalties by law for any offense which is committed against a person with disability. So I'll open this. This is a link from a government site which I will open just a sec. So I am sharing this link on the chat box. You guys can go through this link. This link mentions everything that I have spoken about. जब जो भी चीजें मैंने अभी तक आप लोगों से बात करी हैं वो इस लिंक में है। आपको विस्तार में पढ़ना हो तो आप इस लिंक पे पढ़ सकते हैं। गोइंग बैक टू माई प्रेजेंटेशन नाउ, अब हमने आरपीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट के बारे में जो इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट्स थे जो हमारे बच्चों को हेल्प कर सकते हैं आगे जाके, हमने उनके बारे में डिस्कस किया। आप लोगों को कोई भी क्वेश्चंस हो आरपीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट के लिए तो आप चैट बॉक्स में लिख सकते हैं। आई विल आंसर टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ द प्रेजेंटेशन। मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट सेट ऑफ प्रोविजंस और द एक्ट दैट वी हैव, व्हिच इज द नेशनल ट्रस्ट एक्ट। ये 1999 में पास हुआ था। दिस एक्ट इज फॉर द वेलफेयर ऑफ पर्सन्स विद ऑटिज्म, cerebral palsy, mental retardation। ये एक्ट इन डिसेबिलिटीज के लिए स्पेसिफिकली 1999 में पास हुआ था। काफी एनजीओज हैं जो नेशनल ट्रस्ट के पास रजिस्टर्ड है, जिन्हें आरओज कहते हैं, और वो सब नेशनल ट्रस्ट की स्कीम्स को रन करती हैं। हम में से काफी लोग हैं जो थेरेपीज को एक्सेस नहीं कर पाते, ईदर ड्यू टू द लोकेशन वी आर एट और ड्यू टू द financial challenges we have. So there are certain schemes which are run by the National Trust which can benefit all. और हम अब उन स्कीम्स के बारे में देखेंगे और प्रोविजंस के बारे में। तो पहला प्रोविजन जो नेशनल ट्रस्ट एक्ट के तहत है, और हम जब नेशनल ट्रस्ट एक्ट की बात कर रहे हैं तो हमें ये याद रखना होगा कि ये एक्ट खाली इन डिसेबिलिटीज को लेके बनाया गया था। तो पहला प्रोविजन हम बात करेंगे गार्जियनशिप प्रोविजन की। हम में से बहुत लोग सोचते हैं कि व्हाट आफ्टर अस, हु विल टेक केयर? इफ देयर इज अ पर्सन हु कैन टेक केयर, will how to get that person as a legal guardian? Is there a provision? Yeah, we'll have to go through a strenuous process of getting the child or adult adopted, if there is any. तो ये गार्जियनशिप प्रोविजंस के बारे में नेशनल ट्रस्ट एक्ट में कहा गया है। कौन कौन गार्जियनशिप ले सकता है बच्चे की? अ पेरेंट ऑफ अ पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी या उसका कोई रिलेटिव कैन मेक एन एप्लीकेशन फॉर द अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ एनी पर्सन। इसका मतलब है एक पेरेंट जो पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी का है या उसका रिलेटिव, कोई भी एक एप्लीकेशन दे सकता है कि हम XYZ या किसी को गार्जियन अपॉइंट करना चाहते हैं। जो कोई भी नेशनल ट्रस्ट रजिस्टर्ड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, RO, जिसकी मैं बात कर रही थी, वो भी एक एप्लीकेशन, अगर आप उनको रीच आउट करें, वो आपके बिहाफ पे एप्लीकेशन लिख के लोकल लेवल कमिटी को दे सकती हैं कि इस बच्चे का हमें गार्जियन अपॉइंट करना है, प्रोवाइडेड कि गार्जियन कौन होगा उसके लिए पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी का कंसेंट हो। जब कमिटी गार्जियनशिप की एप्लीकेशन को असेस करेगी तो वो ये देखेंगी वेदर अ पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी एक्चुअली नीड्स अ गार्जियन और नॉट। गार्जियनशिप की जब हम बात करते हैं तो हम लीगल गार्जियनशिप की बात करते हैं, और कोई भी 18 साल से ऊपर हो जाता है तो उसके राइट्स और बढ़ जाते हैं। राइट टू वोट, right to free access and other rights which each one of us has today. तो जब गार्जियनशिप के लिए हम अप्लाई करते हैं तो कौन गार्जियन हो सकता है कि आपके बिहाफ पे जो लीगल डिसीजंस ले सके? कोई भी पेरेंट हो सकते हैं, दोनों पेरेंट्स साथ हो सकते हैं, और अगर सिंगल पेरेंट है तो सिंगल पेरेंट भी गार्जियनशिप के लिए अप्लाई कर सकता है। सिबलिंग्स अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, या फैमिली का कोई और मेंबर अप्लाई कर सकता है, या कोई ऐसा पर्सन हु वांट्स टू बी अ गार्जियन एंड पेरेंट्स एंड द चाइल्ड विद डिसेबिलिटी has consented that person to be a guardian. An important point to note over here is that कोई भी female child और person with disability का single male guardian नहीं allow करता नेशनल ट्रस्ट एक्ट। ना ही तो अगर किसी मेल पर्सन को फीमेल चाइल्ड की गार्जियनशिप देनी है तो उसको अपने स्पाउस के साथ को गार्जियनशिप लेनी पड़ेगी एंड स्पाउस और वुमन पेरेंट वुड बी अ मास्टर को गार्जियन। अब कई बार होता है कि अब्यूज होता है, गार्जियंस कैन नॉट टेक केयर, सो हाउ कैन वी रिमूव अ गार्जियन? Whenever a parent or a relative of a person with disability or a registered organization आरओ है वो फाइंड दे फाइंड आउट दैट कोई अब्यूज हो रहा है, कोई निग्लेक्ट हो रहा है, तो एक प्रिस्क्राइब प्रोसीजर के तहत वो लोकल कमिटी को फिर लेटर लिखेंगे और उस गार्जियन का रिमूवल हो सकता है। सो दिस इज द प्रोसेस अंडर द नेशनल ट्रस्ट एक्ट। अगर आपको इस प्रोसेस की ज्यादा जानकारी चाहिए तो आपको रजिस्टर्ड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो नेशनल ट्रस्ट के साथ रजिस्टर्ड है उन्हें रीच आउट करना पड़ेगा। नेशनल ट्रस्ट की वेबसाइट है जहाँ पे आरओस के बारे में मेंशन्ड है। नाउ कमिंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट जिसके बारे में हम आगे चल के जब हमारे इंश्योरेंस रिलेटेड वेबिनार्स होंगे उसके बारे में तब भी हम इनके बारे में एकदम डिटेल में बात करेंगे। बट बिकॉज दिस पॉलिसी विच इज द निर्माया हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस स्कीम इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ नेशनल ट्रस्ट, तो हम उसको कवर करेंगे अभी। तो व्हाट इज दिस हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस स्कीम? इट इज एन अफोर्डेबल हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस स्कीम फॉर पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज। इसमें इंश्योरेंस कवर 1 लाख।
Hi, Sonia ji, can you reshare your screen? Actually, someone else in between shared their screen, so
ओके।
Uh,
it's not visible.
we can see it actually. It was gone for a couple of seconds only.
Oh, okay, okay,
ओके।
Ma'am, you just have to pin. I think it's not pinned.
ओके।
okay. Let me.
You need to
Pin.
unpin that.
Yeah, now it's pinned. Is it pinned
ओके।
for everyone? Are you guys able to see?
It's pinned, but I get a message that someone else is presenting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that has been moved out. That has not been into the main screen, right?
yeah.
Okay,
You
I
need
think
to
you
unpin
have
that.
to unpin and pin again, I think so.
okay.
Or you can just stop presentation and present again.
Can you
Could be
guys
that
see it
also.
now? No?
No, that's not visible again.
Okay, I'll unpresent it.
I guess you need to unpin and pin again that.
Yeah, yeah, I'll do that.
Somebody might have said that their screen. That's why that isn't open.
Right.
Yeah, now it's visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go ahead then.
Okay. So we are
Thank
going to talk about the schemes which are under the National Trust Act 1999. The first scheme is the Nemaya Health Insurance Scheme. It's an affordable insurance scheme for person with disabilities. इसका जो टोटल कवर है ये 1 लाख का है। इसके प्रीमियम की डिटेल्स हम जब इंश्योरेंस पे वेबिनार करेंगे वी कैन डिस्कस मोर। आई थिंक इट्स अराउंड 500 an year, 2000 an year. I'll have to check, but it's very much affordable. I'm talking about the annual premium. Okay. So, or how to get this scheme is also something will cover later in our insurance related webinars. But because it's a scheme which is out through National Trust, you can go and reach out to any RO which is registered with the National Trust to get more information if required. अब इस स्कीम में क्या है? There is a facility for OPD treatment which includes medicines, pathology, dental, preventive surgery, ongoing therapies are also paid for to a certain extent, which we'll have to see later. Then there are transportation costs which are included, and there's no pre-insurance medical test that's required. and it's a pan-India scheme. So you go to any RO which is registered with National Trust, you say that I want to get my child registered under the Nemaya health insurance scheme, and they'll guide you. What is an eligibility criteria to apply for this scheme? All PWDs who have at least one of the disabilities under the National Trust Act. So only those disabilities which are registered or recognized under the National Trust Act can avail the Nirmaya Health Insurance Scheme. Your child should have a valid disability certificate to apply for the scheme. Okay. Now, moving on to another set of schemes which National Trust has. So they have schemes which can cater to all sections of the society, but they are targeting the lower rung or people who cannot, you know, who find difficulties in arranging therapies and other requisites for their children with disabilities. So the first scheme they have is called Disha, which is an early intervention and school readiness scheme. So this scheme is for the children in the age group of 0 to 10 years. What is covered under this scheme? There is a provision of therapies, trainings, and support to family members. There is a daycare facility for person with disabilities up to 4 hours in a day. Any RO, registered organization under the National Trust Act, which is running the Disha scheme, will have a batch size of at most 20 persons with disabilities. Now, how to get the list of ROs which are registered under this scheme called Disha? I'll share the link with everyone. And if you see the snippet, it's from the National Trust site, and I'll share it in the chat box with everyone. You can go through the RO that's there for your city, and you can get in touch with them. I'll just share it in the chat box. Moving on to the next scheme that we have from the National Trust is the Vicar Scheme. It's a daycare scheme primarily for enhancing the interpersonal and vocational skills for children with disabilities. It also supports, क्योंकि because it's a daycare scheme, तो वो फैमिली मेंबर्स को सपोर्ट करती है कि उनको थोड़ा टाइम मिले ड्यूरिंग द डे टू फुलफिल देयर अदर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज. जो डे केयर फैसिलिटीज है दे आर एटलीस्ट 6 hours long in a day, and 8 specific activities are conducted. It's a pan-India scheme, and the batch size hai for an RO which is running a Vikas daycare scheme is 30 persons with disabilities. Again, there is a list of ROs on the National Trust website which are running the Vikas scheme. So what I'll do is I'll just open one of the pages and I'll just help you understand how do you check in on the site. I'll just stop sharing this presentation and share my entire screen. So let me know whenever you can see the website.
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay. So you see, this is a National Trust website, and we are, like I spoke about Disha, this is the page for Disha. And yeah, so this is talking about the entire scheme, and it's talking about the enrollment process for the persons with disabilities and the ROs on this scheme. So the documents which are required by the guardian to be brought to the The CHA center includes an enrollment form, the birth certificate, the disability certificate, the below poverty line certificate or the income certificate of the parent in case of an LIG or a BPL family, ID proof of the parent, and the residential proof. Okay. Now, moving on to Vikas, we have a similar page.
Sonia ji, looks like again someone has shared their screen and your screen has lost. I request everyone please not to share your screen as it disrupt.
Please make everyone attendee.
If you can block
You
everyone.
see, you need to have the admin right, so nobody can, others can share, right?
That's what I'm just trying to see, like
Yeah,
where
yeah,
that option
yeah.
is.
Do it,
Yeah,
please.
it is there. There is an option where you can disable others that cannot say it without your permission. So you can do that.
Okay.
Do you guys see my screen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So moving
Yes,
ahead.
ma'am, we can see.
Yeah. So over here, if you click to download the scheme, it will tell you about the scheme in detail. Okay. The daycare scheme, which is run by the National Trust. What is it all about? I am talking about the abridged version, but you can get everything over here. Okay. The forms and the criterion. So take out some time and go through these links which I'm sharing to get full information on the schemes. This is for Disha. This is for Vikas. Now, moving ahead with my presentation. So, then the next scheme is the Samarth scheme, which is for respite care. There are children who are orphans or are often abandoned. There are families which are in crisis. And there are persons with disabilities from BPL and LIG families who need respite care. So, there is a group home facility for all age groups with adequate and quality care. The scheme is pan India. The batch size for an RO is 30 PWDs, and these schemes are provided by the National Trust at minimal or no cost. ROs are funded by the National Trust for each person with disability that enrolls. So it's the government who is paying the National Trust, which is paying a registered organization to take care of these 30 PWDs who are enrolled. Within these 30, if you go onto the site, government has given a breakup. For example, that out of these 30, I'm talking about a hypothetical figure here because I don't remember the exact breakup right now, that 25 LIG or BPL will be eligible for Samarth or Disha and 5 non-LIG. So the government is ensuring that children from BPL or LIG families get access to the respite care and other facilities which are offered by the National Trust. So I'll share the link of this scheme also in a while. Then the next scheme that's run by the National Trust is called Garonda. It's a group home for adults. We talk about independent living a lot. So on the same lines, we have a scheme called Garonda, which is by the National Trust. There is an assured home and a minimum quality of care services throughout the life of a PWD. There is a quality care service with acceptable living standards, including provision of basic medical care. And because the child is in a group home, then there are vocational activities, pre-vocational activities, and assistance for further training. It's a group home for adults. It's a pan-India scheme, and the batch size that any RO can take is 20 persons with disabilities. So this is about the national trust. If you have any questions around these schemes, though I'll be sharing the links, which should be helpful, we can take towards the end of the session. Moving ahead about around other pan-India schemes and provisions which are there for children with disabilities, people with disabilities, or the caregiver of a person with disabilities. The first provision that we're going to talk about is the tax exemption that we have from the government of India. So there is an additional tax exemption over and above your 150,000 limit that we get when we apply for tax benefits under section 80DD. Under this section, the individual or a Hindu United Family, NHUF, can claim deductions when their family member is differently abled. So I can claim this additional exemption, because I'm raising a child with disability. This deduction can be claimed on two conditions. One is that we have done any spendings in medical treatment, nursing, rehabilitation, or training. So all your therapy costs come under training if you have bills. And if you have a disability certificate, you can avail benefits under this section 80DD. You have to upload the disability certificate along with the bills to claim this deduction. Or if you are paying any premium towards any scheme which is formed by LIC, then you can claim under 80DD. You should be an Indian resident to claim this scheme. Like I mentioned, you need a certificate from the medical authority, and you need to furnish a copy for the same while filing taxes. What is the exemption? If the medical certificate of your child says that the disability is a minimum of 40, that is 40 to 80, you can claim a deduction up to 75K, 75,000, 75,000 ki exemption. If it's a severely disabled child, you can get with the disability percentage of whom is 80% or above, तो आपको 1,25,000 का और एग्जेम्पशन मिल सकता है. बट आपको बिल्स चाहिए और आपको डिसेबिलिटी सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए मेडिकल अथॉरिटी के थ्रू टू अवेल दिस एग्जेम्पशन. I'll talk about what webinars we'll have in future, which will help you understand that how do you acquire this medical certificate, because now it's a pan-India common process. Earlier it was not. So that will help us understand that we have all the requisite documents to avail these schemes and services which are given to us by the Government of India and the National Trust. Moving ahead, then there is section 80U. 80U is for individual taxpayers. That is, if I am a person with disability, then I can avail additional exemptions on my income under section 80U. The main difference between 80DD and 80U is that in 80U, you don't have to show any expenses. You get this exemption because you are differently abled. You get this exemption only if you are an Indian resident. And to claim this exemption, you need a disability certificate. The criterion is same. If the disability percentage is from 40 to 80, it's 75,000. If it's 80 and above, it's 1,25,000. Moving ahead, we have other schemes and provisions. I'll open this link because these are not pan-India. These are some of them. These are state level. Some of these are central. So just a sec. Yeah. We can check for our state. And so these are the disability schemes. If you see over here, we have state/union territories name. We can select one. disability type. There is some bug on this page, so even if you select the disability type, you see all, and whether you want to see a state level scheme or a central scheme. So this is a very user friendly page. It So let's go to the first page. Yeah. So how do you read this page is that for all states and union territories, if your child is blind, you get a traveling allowance for an attendant or an escort. How do you read more about the scheme? You open this document by the Government of India, okay, which will tell you about the scheme. Similarly, you have for hearing impairment or cochlear implant surgery. Under this, you need a 40% disability minimum. Then we have, if you see for Puducherry, we have an annual tour for differently abled persons, and financial assistance for differently abled persons again in Puducherry. So these are the rules which so it's I'm just reading out for you. So for differently able persons who have a permanent disability, you know you get 2200 per month. How do you get it is something you'll have to check with your respective state authorities who can help you understanding this gazette and the clauses which are here. But usually the pension schemes that are running in are for LIGs and BPLs, but in some states they are for the persons with disabilities, irrespective of whether the parent is earning more or not. There are a lot of schemes for I mean, you can check for your states, but I saw that a lot of schemes are running in Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. So if anyone wants to go through this page, I'll just share the link. So I'm open to questions now.
So what we can do, I mean, I'm seeing there are few questions, but if anyone has any question, they can ask here. We have sufficient time right now.
Yeah, can I ask the question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, my son is 4 year old, 3 months. Currently, he's diagnosed with mild autism, and I'm just in a dilemma whether I should apply for the certificate or whether it will be valid uh, till for a longer period or something, or I have to revalidate it again and again. And second thing, beside gets a text benefit, what else I will get? Because if my son after few years being a mother, I have a feeling that he will be in a better position because now he's in a very milder stage of autism. So if I put a label to him of like a disability certificate, then in future will it give any harm to him in getting something like this?
So, answering this is a disability certificate for autism. We'll talk about validity first, though we'll have a separate webinar on how to apply for a disability certificate because it's a complete process. A certificate for a child with autism is valid up to the age of sorry, not up to the age, valid for a period of 5 years, and you need to reapply it. An assessment is done again, and a certificate is renewed. That's one thing. Another thing is, apart from tax benefits, what are the benefits of having a disability certificate? We saw that there's a right to free education in a government and a government aided institution. Then you have various schemes under the National Trust for which you can apply. Then there are guardianship provisions which are there, and lot many things. I hope that there's no label associated in future, but then there are disability pension schemes which are run by various government organizations. We'll have another session because I've broken the sessions in a way that it's understandable. So we'll talk about the CBSE provisions also in our upcoming webinars in terms of exemptions. So because I am raising a child on the spectrum, so I know about a CBSE exemption. I remember that because that's very important, is that my child has an exemption from second language when they sit for their board exams. So, because autism is mainly a language and a communication disorder, so if my child has an exemption that she doesn't have to write the Hindi or the Sanskrit or a French exam, she only has to write an English exam. So that's a win-win for me. Right now, also we've told the school that we don't want to do Hindi because all my books are published in English. So I'll probably, I'll keep English as my first language, and we can drop the language. These kind of exemptions. Then there are scholarships also that we'll talk about in our upcoming sessions. Uh, that'll that'll help the child. And now the national education policy is structured in a way that a child with disability can choose subjects from class 6th, and there will be a lot of pre-vocational options that will open up early. So we can have another webinar on NCF or the national education policy, which was rolled out recently. So there are a lot of benefits which are associated when you have a disability certificate. If you don't keep this as a premise, then everyone will avail these benefits around job reservations, which are there, and reservations in higher educational institutions. So there's much more than tax.
Okay, thank you. So, is it fine if we apply for the certificate at such an early age?
Yeah, my daughter got it at 3.5.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could I go ahead with
But
another question?
but yeah, just one thing. We got it at 3.5 because at that time the government was issuing it at 3.5. I'll have to check with the provisions because the provisions keep on getting updated, and because autism is a developmental delay, so I think there is a minimum prescribed age before which you cannot get a certificate. I can check and get back on this.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I have another question. Could I go ahead?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So as you mentioned that with respect to the tax benefit, the parents could get in the benefit when they are taking in therapies. It's a outpatient setting. So in that case, would it be applicable if the parents are taking therapies from private centers, or is it only for government recognized centers?
Any center. We have availed benefits on the private center bills with the
Okay.
requisite disability certificate upload on the government website along with the copy of the bills under Section 80DD.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. And does the organization, except for providing the bill, anything else that they need to provide in?
No, only the bill.
Okay, thank you so much.
I have a question. Can I?
Sure, sir.
Uh, Ma'am, you said that the certificate, as far as this meeting is concerned, you said that certificate is basically a main thing to get any benefit either in text or any government policy. So, if is it possible if you could share the link where we can check what all documentation where we have to go through to get a certificate made?
Yes, I will conduct another webinar. So, because we are taking Q&As and there are questions, so our next webinar, which I'll speak to Pramod ji, we can have it in a couple of weeks, wherein our next webinar will be around process of obtaining a disability certificate and a unique disability card and its benefits.
Okay.
This is our list of upcoming webinars. We've broken it down in a way so that it's understandable and it's not too much information for everyone to take in. Then we'll talk about scholarships and we'll talk about school admissions also in Delhi, uh, and many more things. So it'll be a detailed webinar around the process and what all is required when it comes to obtaining a disability certificate and a UDID.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Ma'am, I just wanted to know if a child is studying, a certified disability certified child is studying in an inclusive school, in that is a public school. So, is there any provision of fee exemption under RPWD Act?
If it's a government aided institution, the education should be free.
Okay. Otherwise, there is no
Yeah,
fee
otherwise,
exemption.
no. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me,
Hello, ma'am.
I have a question around basically the Guardian Act, which you have shown about the National Trust Act. In that one, you have mentioned that we can nominate a guardian who can take care of our child in case we are not around. For example, after me, who will take care of my child? This will answer this question. But is there any other schemes like if we nominate someone, is there anything happening that there will be some other committee or something is taking care of regular updates, what's going on, and ensuring that the child is protected perfectly even by that guardian?
हाँ जी सर। तो जो नेशनल ट्रस्ट के अंडर लोकल लेवल कमिटी होती है ना, उसमें पेरेंट्स होते हैं, लोकल कमिटी के मेंबर्स। दे कीप अ टैब on the protection of the child who has a legal guardian, and if they find an abuse or if someone else report an abuse for that child, then the committee can remove the guardian and will take another process of appointing a new one. So the local level committee is under the national trust, and uske members, apart from the public, there are parents who are members of the national trust local committee. So it's taken care of.
And they will find the appropriate guardian at that moment, or how the process will be that? Because for example, if I am not around at that moment and they find that there is a basically mishappening with the child and they are not taking care of everything properly, and they can find that we need to allocate a new guardian for them, they will take care of that thing to find the appropriate guardian, or the committee itself will take care of the child?
They will file for a process, so the committee is liable to find a new guardian.
Okay. Got it. Second question of mine is around this. Basically, you give me a brief idea. This is very good presentation. First of all, I basically thanks Pramodi and you to give me the better understanding how we can. It is really helpful actually for me at least. I need to understand about that for CBSE also. Like you have given me the government institution and I did, you can find a way to basically get your child admitted there. If I need to go for a CBSE school or something like that, a good English medium school, how I can get a value benefit for this for my child? And second thing, how to get this certificate? This is more important now. If even in CBSE I'm going to basically get my child admitted, they will definitely ask for this certificate. So I need to understand what is the process which I need to follow, and the documentation should be ready so that I can get my child admitted to any school as soon as possible.
सर डिसेबिलिटी प्रोसेस सर्टिफिकेट के प्रोसेस के बारे में हम नेक्स्ट वेबिनार में बात करेंगे, बट मैं आपको वेबसाइट दिखा देती हूँ, आपके पास टाइम हो तो आप यू कैन गो थ्रू दैट वेबसाइट। जो मैंने वेबसाइट डिसेबिलिटी स्कीम्स के लिए ओपन करी थी, सो दिस इज द स्वावलंबन कार्ड वेबसाइट। डू यू सी माय स्क्रीन?
Yes, we can see it.
ठीक है, तो वहां पे आप अगर यहाँ पे देखें तो आपको लॉगिन क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा। यहाँ पे यूजर लॉगिन क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा। वंस द लॉगिन इज क्रिएटेड, आई विल जस्ट ओपन द साइट। आपको रजिस्टर करना पड़ेगा, एंड देन it will be an entire process on how to get a UDID card. UDID कार्ड जो होता है यूनिक डिसेबिलिटी आईडी कार्ड होता है, उसके साथ आप सर्टिफिकेट के लिए भी अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. आई कैन नॉट ओपन द फॉर्म राइट नाउ बिकॉज आई हैव टू क्रिएट एन अकाउंट टू शो इट टू यू एक्चुअली. But if you get time, then you can just create an account for yourself, for your child on this website, and you can just see the process. It's a very simple form that will open up. It will talk about your name, the child names, the disability, and I think the photograph also needs to be uploaded for the photograph of the child. And there are
Is
few
there any doctor recommendation or say prescription or something that we also need to update on this one, or they will be assigning?
how it works is कि वहां पे ना आप जब डिटेल्स भरेंगे ना, वहां पे आपको एक हॉस्पिटल चुनना पड़ेगा अपने एरिया का, ठीक है, क्योंकि आप अपना एरिया भी डालेंगे, एड्रेस भी डालेंगे. वो हॉस्पिटल जो होगा वो आपके बच्चे को असेस करेगा. There will be an entire assessment procedure that will go through via that hospital that you choose. Okay. And then a certificate will be generated. So it will take around मतलब 2 से 3 महीने लगते हैं. कुछ states में जल्दी हो जाता है, दिल्ली में थोड़ा टाइम लगता है. But that's the process. आपको किसी डॉक्टर के recommendation की जरूरत नहीं है when you're applying for this. But when you go to the hospital, you can tell them that we are undergoing therapies someone suggested, and we want you to assess the child as per the protocol, and give us an assessment report and a certificate if needed.
One last question. Thanks for this information. I will definitely check it. In case we are going for a CBSE school admissions for our child, is there any provision that has been enforced by government that at least minimum this much seats should be reserved by the schools for the special needs kids?
सर जो गवर्नमेंट एंड गवर्नमेंट एडेड स्कूल्स होते हैं वहां पे बच्चा फ्री पढ़ता है. दिल्ली में 3% reservation है. I don't know which state you are in.
I am in Delhi only, but I am worried about the private schools, not about the government aided even. Is there any private schools also has been enforced by the law that they should have some reservations for this type of
मैंने
country?
आपको स्टार्टिंग में बताया था, एक गवर्नमेंट स्कूल होता है, गवर्नमेंट एडेड होता है. गवर्नमेंट एडेड क्या होता है कि वो प्राइवेट मैनेजमेंट रन करती है, लेकिन उसको लैंड सरकार ने दिया होता है. ठीक है, तो आपके जो स्कूल्स मतलब पूरी लिस्ट है व्हेन वी गो थ्रू द एडमिशन प्रोसीजर वेबिनार इन दिल्ली, तो उसमें लिस्ट ऑफ स्कूल्स हैं. मतलब जैसे बिकॉज आई स्टे इन साउथ दिल्ली, सो लक्ष्मण पब्लिक स्कूल, द मदर्स इंटरनेशनल स्कूल, द एम्बियंट स्कूल, all these are private schools, but we don't get to know that these are government aided. They are government aided schools, and by law under the RTE there is a 3% reservation for special needs children in these schools.
Do we have link somewhere where we can find out what are the basically government aided schools in Delhi?
हाँ सर, मैं आपको वो लिंक भेज देती हूँ. इस पे भी एक वेबिनार होगा. ये EWS और डिसएडवांटेज कैटेगरी के एडमिशंस का लिंक है. ये है लिस्ट ऑफ स्कूल्स जो हैं. इसमें CWSN का पोर्शन है. इसमें नर्सरी, KG और 1 के लिए सीट्स होती हैं. ये पूरी लिस्ट है. अपडेट होती है हर साल कि गवर्नमेंट एडेड स्कूल्स के लिए.
मैम इसमें कोई एज क्राइटेरिया भी होता है?
ये हर साल रिवाइज होता है. टिल लास्ट ईयर नर्सरी में 9 साल तक का बच्चा अप्लाई कर सकता था स्पेशल नीड्स. यू नीड अ डिसेबिलिटी सर्टिफिकेट ऑलवेज. दैट इज द प्रीमाइस.
Okay.
And one more thing, in this type of schools, like for example, we know that our kid needs special attention and special assistance even in the schools. Whether that provision has been taken care by the school premise, any law that there should be a dedicated have we need to assign someone who is basically taking care of especially for this type of child because they need special care.
सर देखिए, सरकार की तरफ से क्या प्रोविजन है, सरकार ने CBSE को डायरेक्ट किया हुआ है कि हर स्कूल में 2 स्पेशल एजुकेटर्स होने चाहिए. ठीक है. उसके बियॉन्ड देयर आर सर्टेन स्कूल्स हु हैव स्पेशल एजुकेटर्स. सम ऑफ देम डू नॉट हैव इट डिस्पाइट द प्रोविजन इन प्लेस. Some of them allow parents to shadow. Some of them allow VPs to come. Some of them say that, we cannot do anything. Then, your next step is the special courts that I spoke about, the Disability Commissioner Office that I spoke about. So, by law, CBSE, by rule, CBSE mandates that every school should have 2 special educators.
Okay.
अगर प्यार से मान जाए तो प्यार से बात कीजिए, नहीं तो
Sure, that's why I'm basically discussing about the various options that we can talk to these school and committees.
Yeah. So I'll do a webinar on UDID first, the disability certificate first, because that forms the basis for everything. We can do it on 30th. If I'll discuss it with Pramod ji and we'll plan out a date.
Sure.
Around how to get a disability certificate, and then we will do a webinar around CWS and admissions in Delhi, because that will open soon.
Thanks
And
a lot.
these admissions are run throughout the year. These are rolling admissions. तो एक के बाद एक हर 3 महीने में government open seats.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Thank you.
हेलो
Yeah.
हेलो मैम, मैं क्वेश्चन पूछ सकती हूँ?
हाँ जी, पूछिए.
मैम, मुझे जो आपने दिशा बताया था जिसमें डे केयर है, वो अप टू 10 इयर्स तक बच्चे कर सकते हैं, क्या वो लॉकडाउन के ड्यूरेशन में भी है कि अभी बंद होते हैं?
आपको मैम आरओ से कोलैबोरेट करना पड़ेगा. मैंने नेशनल ट्रस्ट की साइट का लिंक दिया है. आप यहाँ पे रजिस्टर्ड आरओस देख सकती हैं. लेट मी सी. क्लिक ऑन. तो यहाँ पे आपको आरओस की लिस्ट मिलेगी. we'll have to see one of the tabs which is there. So not showing up there. So you'll have to get in touch with the ROs, the registered organizations, and will tell you whether they are open or not. But in COVID, I doubt, because the government doesn't allow. Now the schools are open, so they operate like schools only.
एक्चुअली मेरी डॉटर अभी 9 इयर्स कंप्लीट हुई है, और उसने जैसे एडमिशन लिया था एयरफोर्स स्कूल में, वैसे ही लॉकडाउन लग गया. उसके बाद वो स्कूल नहीं गई है, और अब उसका लेवल नर्सरी तक का आया है.
आप चेक कर सकते हैं नेशनल ट्रस्ट की वेबसाइट पे कौन से आरओज रजिस्टर्ड है, और आप उनसे बात करके आपको पता चल सकता है. दे कैन हेल्प यू.
ओके मैम, थैंक यू.
एक्सक्यूज मी मैम, मैं क्वेश्चन पूछ सकती हूँ?
जी बिल्कुल, श्योर.
मैम, मैं बैंगलोर से हूँ. जैसे आपने बताया स्कूल्स के बारे में, गवर्नमेंट एडेड स्कूल्स के बारे में, दिल्ली का आपको नॉलेज है. बैंगलोर साइड या फिर आई विल बी मोर स्पेसिफिक कर्नाटका साइड में कैसे हम पता कर सकते हैं कौन कौन से स्कूल्स स्पेशल नीड के बच्चों को लेते हैं? कोई एक साइट है, कोई लिंक है जहाँ पे पता चल सकता हो?
मेरे पास ऐसा नहीं है कोई लिंक, बट आई कैन लुक फॉर इट एंड आई कैन गेट बैक. But because every state has an education minister, so you'll have to see, if there are ways you can reach out to that person, or the disability commissioner is there assigned for every state. So, you'll have to see, check with the local authorities as to, how can you take an appointment, and they can guide you with the process.
ओके मैम, ये जो पॉलिसीज बनती हैं, हाउ क्विकली दीज पॉलिसीज गेट रिवाइज्ड? लाइक चेंजेस कितनी फ्रीक्वेंटली होती हैं इन पॉलिसीज में?
Not very frequent, because PWD Act came in 1995, and the revised policy after the UN Convention, which happened in 2007, came in 2016. So 1995 to 2016 is a lot of time. And for the National Trust Act, we've not seen any revision so far.
ओके मैम, एंड ये लॉकडाउन के टाइम पे एज वी ऑल हैव फेस्ड इट कि स्पेशली स्पेशल नीड के बच्चों को बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स फेस करनी पड़ी हैं. तो कुछ एजुकेशन सिस्टम में ऐसा कुछ चेंजेस या कुछ एडिशनल लॉज आए हैं इन स्पेसिफिक फॉर द स्पेशल नीड चिल्ड्रन कि बिकॉज वो ऑनलाइन में नहीं बैठ सकते हैं, उनके लिए सब कुछ ऑफलाइन ही होना चाहिए। तो ऐसा कुछ भी आया है एज पर गवर्नमेंट लॉ?
नहीं, गवर्नमेंट की साइड से कुछ नहीं आया है, बट देर आर वेज थ्रू विच यू कैन हेल्प योर चाइल्ड सिट एंड अटेंड क्लासेस. We can talk about those ways. You can follow the Thea Edge Foundation page, and there are structured ways through which you can help your child and not force your child. We can guide you through it. But there is no law that has come up.
ओके, थैंक यू मैम. वन लास्ट क्वेश्चन मैम. यूडीआईडी में चिल्ड्रन जो स्कूल नहीं जा रहे हैं अभी, जिन्होंने किसी स्कूल से एनरोल नहीं किया, वो भी सर्टिफिकेट क्रिएट कर सकते हैं यूडीआईडी का?
Huh, because the certificate is not only for school. There are so many schemes which will be linked to that certificate. So whether your child is going to a school or not going to a school, it's not a basis for applying for a card and a certificate.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All right, so now it's a quick time check. We are 5 minutes over. So anyone has any question, or we can close?
Ma'am, are schemes valid for ADHD with borderline intelligence?
No, only for the 21 list of disabilities we
But
have.
there is a speech delay, ma'am.
देखिए, अगर आपके सर्टिफिकेट में इनमें से कुछ भी लिखा है ना, तो वैलिड हो जाएगा. I can put it as simple as this.
मैम डायग्नोसिस दिया गया है ADHD with borderline intelligence.
तो आप जिसने भी आपको बच्चे को डायग्नोसिस दिया है ना, आप पूछिए उनसे कि क्या इनमें से किसी में फॉल करेगा. एक यहाँ पे ऑटिज्म है, एक यहाँ पे स्पीच एंड लैंग्वेज का भी
या there is speech and language delay.
तो अगर वो ये मेंशन कर देते हैं तो yes, these exemptions and provisions will be applicable, otherwise not.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Very good afternoon to all of you. Ma'am, my child Kabir is an autistic child, and he is going to a recognized school with inclusive education. And as we early discussed, that the online classes are not as much as beneficial for the child as they are actually going to the school, and he's a much slower in this process, and he is not able to attend the online classes. And then now the school is asking me that being the child is not conducting an online class and follow a procedure of all this examination and assessment, so we would like you to continue in the national open school rather than in this school after 8th class. So being he is in 8th class now, so what are the rights of my child if I ask them to continue the 8th class again, means readmission to the class 8th? Can we do that?
Yes, if you have a disability certificate and if the child is under 18, then he can continue. Repeat.
So means that the school cannot force me कि मुझे NOS में जाना ही है.
अगर ठीक है, लेकिन मैं आपको ये कहूंगी कि स्कूल आपको एक पाथ दिखा रहा है. मोजी ने एक NIOS का सेशन करवाया था. अब अगर आपका एक ये है कि बच्चा केपेबल है कि वो नेक्स्ट ईयर 8th निकाल लेगा, ठीक है, तो मैं रिपीट कराऊं. लेकिन अगर मेरा बच्चा 8th नहीं निकाल सकता, लेकिन मैं चाहती हूँ वो स्कूल में रहे और मैं उसके 4 साल 8th में, बिकॉज school is a school, they'll go by protocols. So they are suggesting you that NIOS is an option, which is an option. All of us know. If we don't know, we can refer to the webinar which was conducted in the past. So it's on the child's capability. School cannot force you. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry.
ma'am.
Means my child also wants to go to the school only. Means if the schools open after a while, he wants to go to school. So is it
आप भेजिए स्कूल नहीं, स्कूल एट मैक्स क्या कर सकता है, वो 8वीं में आपके बच्चे को रोक सकता है, उसके बियॉन्ड कुछ नहीं कर सकता.
they cannot force me to कि मैं NOS को ज्वाइन करूं.
नहीं, they cannot force you.
They can also means they can also accept the repetition of the class 8.
Yes, they can.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
I have a question. Can I put on?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, as you said in one of your presentation, like, for the government job, only 1% of their disabilities comes under autism, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are actually the criteria for that kind of job? मतलब how educated a child should be
वो
in
तो
order
डिपेंड
to
करता है कि किसकी जॉब निकली है, इंजीनियर की निकली है या पियोन की निकली है या टाइपिस्ट की निकली है. वो तो जो जॉब एडवर्टाइजमेंट होगा दैट विल गिव यू द एलिजिबिलिटी कंडीशंस एंड द रिलैक्सेशंस.
Okay.
One more thing on the
मतलब what
same
I'm
question.
actually trying to ask is, if a child studies only till class 10 or 12 rather, and if he applies for any of the government job having an intelligence, so will he be eligible in that case?
Again, it depends on the job criteria.
Okay, got it.
One more question on same note. Do we have list of jobs that is basically secured under reservation criteria by the government for child with special needs?
सर लिस्ट तो नहीं है मेरे पास, बट मेरे को याद है कि लास्ट ईयर कुछ एडवर्टाइजमेंट्स निकले थे फॉर चिल्ड्रन विद स्पेशल नीड्स, बट these days companies like Infosys, TCS, etc. also end up hiring. So I can take out a few examples, but there is no list that I have.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Any
Can
more
I
questions?
ask something? Can I
Yeah.
ask something?
Sure.
Ma'am, being a parent, actually अभी जो क्वेश्चन किया गया, that is very relative for all of us, those जिनके बच्चे अभी 13-14 years के हो रहे हैं, so that we prepare our children in a way that they can get a job also. So can we ask or request the government of India that they will guide us कि वो किस तरह की अपॉर्चुनिटी, जैसे अभी आप बता रहे हैं कि अभी कोई लिस्ट नहीं है, अभी कोई क्राइटेरिया नहीं है, बट दे आस्क फॉर द रिजर्वेशन. सो हम कुछ उनसे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को कुछ ऐसा एक्नॉलेज करने के लिए कहें कि वो किस तरह की जॉब्स में उनको देंगे और क्या क्राइटेरिया होगा, उसको भी डिसेबिलिटी की वेबसाइट पर डालें, सो दैट द पेरेंट्स get more aware and they can prepare their child for means coming 4-5 years. Can we put that type of issue in their regard?
We can, I don't know how to reach out to the government of India requesting this, but I think the start point can be कि हम 10 रुपए लगा के एक RTI फाइल करें.
Okay.
कि हम समझें कि किस तरह की जॉब्स निकलती हैं.
जी.
So that should be the
I guess
first
it is
step.
available on the website.
Sorry?
Rachita, I guess you need to be on mute, echoing at your end.
Okay, I'm sorry for that.
No problem.
Okay. Can we means my concern is that for the means upcoming 5 years we should prepare our child for this, so we should know all these details. So can we put like that ma'am suggested that we should put in RTI or some other information is available to you or not, I don't know. You're saying something मुझे समझ नहीं आया था, आप प्लीज बताएं.
That is right to information they are talking about. You can file a PTI basically again. This is my right to information. I want to understand how I can grow my child
जी.
so that I can understand that what are the opportunities we can have in future, if I'm not wrong.
जी. मैं यही पूछना चाह रही थी कि जो अभी हम मेंबर्स हैं उनमें से किसी को कोई आइडिया अगर हो तो दे कैन शेयर इट आउट. बस that's
Okay, I would like to add here. Rachita, can you go on mute? Sorry, there is an echo from your end. So basically, जो आपका क्वेश्चन था कि पेरेंट, जैसा अभी बताया सोनिया ने कि RTI डाल के आप इंफॉर्मेशन निकाल सकते हो, बट यस बहुत सारे अभी एरियाज हैं हमारे देश में अभी हम ऑटिज्म को लेके बात कर रहे हैं, एज ए डिसेबिलिटी तो बहुत बड़ा ये फील्ड है। बहुत सारे एरियाज हैं जहाँ पे कुछ करने की जरूरत है, एंड इफ वी आर वेटिंग कि गवर्नमेंट कुछ करेगी या कोई और आके कुछ करेगा, इट विल टेक टाइम, राइट? सो जैसे दूसरे भी कॉजेज हैं उसके लिए, जो भी उससे जुड़े हुए हैं डायरेक्टली या इनडायरेक्टली, वो लोग अपने लेवल पे कुछ ना कुछ कर रहे हैं, चाहे गवर्नमेंट का अटेंशन लेने के लिए, चाहे प्राइवेट सेक्टर का अटेंशन लेने के लिए, और चाहे सोसाइटी का अटेंशन लेने के लिए। So that is what we are also trying, and we are just trying to build a team of parent professionals. So हम लोग नॉट श्योर कि आज से 1 साल या 2 साल बाद हम लोग कहाँ पहुंचेंगे, बट एटलीस्ट हमें मालूम है कि हमें क्या चाहिए, तो हम एटलीस्ट उसके लिए ट्राई कर सकते हैं। सो आप में से भी में कुछ नए लोग हैं यहाँ पे, अगर लगता है कि हाँ कुछ कर सकते हैं हम लोग सब मिल करके एक साथ में, क्योंकि अभी हम लोग गवर्नमेंट को या दूसरे अथॉरिटीज को अप्रोच करने के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, वी आर बिल्डिंग आवर कैपेबिलिटीज अराउंड इट। But yes, we need everyone's support here, because being an individual, we tried as a parent but didn't get much success out of it, and that's why we built this platform where parents can join and work towards a single goal, right?
Yes, Pramodji, but I guess that is available in the website. If you need that, I can share it with you along in a different
Yeah,
email or form.
yeah, please share with me and I will
Please,
share with
please,
everyone.
for sure.
I'll do that. See, there are a lot of things which is available in the website only, where you can figure it out. What are the reservations are there for the disability people and there. So I can share it with the Pramodji, and Pramodji you can share it with Rachita.
Sure, sure,
I
sure.
have WhatsApp you my number as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I
So
got that. Yeah, we'll
if
connect after
anything,
this. Yeah,
yep,
sure.
yep, no
Thank
worries.
you. So
Thanks.
anyone has any question, or I'm seeing here Shazia,
Yes,
Shazia.
I
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
Myself,
Shazia.
Jagminder. I'm having a question. Like, I just want the thing you told earlier, right now, ki we as an individual, we all, as a parent, doing something for the kids, but right now we have to do in a group. So, can you tell me what exactly the group is and how can, as me personally, we can join the group
May I know
so
about
that
you? I mean,
we
are you a
can follow
parent
some
or
things and do something good?
no, no?
Yes,
You
I'm
are
a
a parent.
parent of a child.
Okay, okay. So,
Yes.
okay. So, like you, if there are any other parent who want to join us, I'm just sharing a number here over chat. So you can ping me on this WhatsApp number. So basically,
Yes.
I mean, it's a group for the parents by the parents. So we are right now, I mean, you're saying like we have organized this webinar to share information with everyone, because most of the parent had this question in past, and even we plan a series of webinar around this topic: admission, disability certificate, then insurance, or what Sonia ji has mentioned. Along with that, we try to help, or with our knowledge or experience, to other parents, and we get all this information from the senior parents, because ये जर्नी ऐसी है जिसमें आप गूगल पे जाओ या वहाँ पे इतनी इंफॉर्मेशन है जिससे आपको कई बार नहीं क्लियर हो पाता कि एक्चुअली मेरे बच्चे की ये प्रॉब्लम है तो उसका सॉल्यूशन क्या है। बट पैरेलल में कोई दूसरा पेरेंट होता है जिसको मालूम होता है कि ये प्रॉब्लम वो फेस कर चुका है और उसको इस तरीके से उसने डील किया है, तो प्रोबब्ली दैट इन्फॉर्मेशन कैन हेल्प यू। सो वी हैव पेरेंट्स ग्रुप स्पेसिफिकली फॉर द पेरेंट्स, जहाँ पे आप जाके वो क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हो और सॉल्यूशंस आपको मिल जाते हैं उसके अराउंड। और दूसरे जो भी कॉजेज हैं, चाहे वो एजुकेशन को लेके है, चाहे अवेयरनेस को लेकर के है, चाहे फ्यूचर में अब जैसे बच्चे बड़े होंगे 10-12 साल से ऊपर जैसे ही जाएंगे, तो फिर एक थॉट होता है कि स्कूल की तरफ से अगर हमें कोई कॉपरेशन नहीं मिल रहा या दूसरी जगह से नहीं मिल रहा, तो हम क्या करें अपने बच्चे के लिए, ताकि वो 18 साल का या 20 साल के होने के बाद में लाइवलीहुड अगर अपनी अर्न करने लायक हो सके, अगर वो उस डायरेक्शन में जा रहा है, तो ठीक हो रहा है धीरे धीरे। तो डिफरेंट डिफरेंट प्रोग्राम्स हैं। ये प्रोग्राम क्या है, ये एक ज़रूरत है जो हमें जैसे जैसे समझ में आ रही है वैसे वैसे हम इसके ऊपर काम करते जा रहे हैं। तो आपके पास में अगर कोई अच्छा थॉट है, हम चाहेंगे कि आप भी जुड़ो, थोड़ा हमें भी गाइड करो कैसे हम लोग आगे बढ़ सकते हैं सब एक साथ। या सो शाजिया,
श्योर। सो राइट नाउ द नंबर आपने जो ड्रॉप किया सर, उस पे हमें आप मुझे आई टू ड्रॉप माय नंबर टू यू आल्सो।
हाँ हाँ,
so
इसी
that
नंबर
we
पे आप
can
मुझे
join
मैसेज,
the group.
राइट, यू कैन जस्ट मैसेज मी ऑन द सेम नंबर। Okay, so right now we are 20 minutes over. So
Sir,
any question?
can you share the number on chat, please?
Yeah, I shared this number over chat. You can see.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks a lot,
So
Pramod ji. This was very informative session, by the way. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for your support and time. This really helped a lot, actually, by the way.
588.
You're welcome. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. So I guess we can close this meeting now.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Pramod ji and ma'am. Thank you so much.